All right, let's just jump right in. I want to show you something, a hidden switch in your brain that gets flipped almost every day, starting with something as simple as buying popcorn at the movies. So you walk up to the counter, you see the small popcorn, $3. Your rational brain immediately goes, yep, that's the one. It feels like the smart, budget-conscious choice. This is the decision you think you're about to make. But then your eyes drift over to the medium, $6.50. And your brain just kind of stalls for a second. Wait, what? That makes absolutely no sense. It's more than double the price for not that much more popcorn. It feels totally overpriced, almost like a mistake. And that's the exact moment they've got you. Because right next to it is the large for $7. And suddenly, your brain is practically screaming, whoa, for just 50 cents more, I can get the large? That's a no-brainer. What an incredible deal. But here's the truth. They never, ever intended for you to buy that medium popcorn. It's a phantom, a mathematical ghost designed for one purpose, to hack your brain and make you buy the most expensive option. Today, we're exposing that glitch. You know that feeling of decision fatigue? When you walk out of a store having spent more than you planned and you're not even sure how it happened? Well, I'm here to tell you it is not a personal failing. You're not bad with money, you're navigating a system that has been meticulously designed to exploit the predictable patterns of human psychology. See, here's the key vulnerability, the unpatched bug in our human operating system. Our brains are terrible at instinctively measuring absolute value. We just don't have an internal price meter. So what do? We rely on comparison. And that one single blind spot is systematically weaponized to turn our own comparison instinct into a sales tool. This phenomenon actually has a name. In behavioral economics, it's called the Asymmetric Dominance effect, but it's more commonly known as the Decoy Effect. And this is a huge deal because it basically breaks classical economic theory. You know, the idea that we're all rational actors who would just ignore an obviously bad option. It turns out our thinking is way more hackable than we'd like to believe. So this setup always involves three distinct players on the battlefield. First, you have the competitor. That's the cheaper option you were initially drawn to, like our $3 small popcorn. Then you have the target, the expensive option they want you to buy, the $7 large. And right there in the middle, you have the decoy, that inferior trap, the $6.50 medium whose only job is to make the target look like a brilliant deal. So why is this simple little trick so incredibly effective? Because it's not just some clever marketing slogan. No, this is a technique that directly targets the fundamental limits of our brain's processing power. It really comes down to three core reasons. First, the illusion of relative value. Your brain needs something to compare to, and the decoy basically gives it a faulty ruler, which makes the target price seem totally reasonable. Second, it weaponizes loss aversion. We are biologically wired to feel the pain of a loss about twice as much as the pleasure of a gain. The decoy makes you feel that if you don't choose the target, you are actively losing out on a great deal. And third, it triggers a neurological shortcut. Brain scans show that decoys light up the anterior insula, the emotional part of your brain, completely bypassing your logical frontal lobe. You're feeling, not thinking. Now, this might all sound like a slick marketing trick, but it's not. This is heavily replicated, peer-reviewed behavioral science. The evidence for this stuff is just overwhelming. A legendary experiment by the behavioral economist Dan Ariely illustrates this perfectly. He analyzed a subscription offer from the Economist magazine. He gave MIT students three options: a web-only subscription for $59, a print-only for $125, and a print plus web combo for also $125. Can you spot the decoy? The results were just staggering. With that useless print-only decoy present, a massive 84% of the students chose the expensive combo deal. But here's where it gets wild. When Ariely removed the decoy, the option that literally nobody wanted in the first place, preferences completely inverted. Suddenly, 68% of the students chose the cheap web-only option. Think about that. A single strategically bad option completely re-engineered reality. And this isn't just about money. This governs our biology too. We evaluate love the same way we evaluate popcorn. Studies have actually proven that when you look at a face, its perceived attractiveness statistically skyrockets if it's shown next to a similar but slightly less attractive distractor face. That less attractive face is the decoy, making the target face seem like a bargain. It's a phenomenon people sometimes call the ugly wingman effect. And make no mistake, this isn't just happening in labs. This is the invisible architecture of our global markets, and it's running silently in the background everywhere, from Western tech giants all the way to Asian retail empires. Let's just run through a few examples. Apple, they're the grandmasters of this. They rarely offer just 2 iPhones. That middle-tier phone, the one with the awkward price jump, is a decoy. It's designed to make the Pro Max feel like a logical, almost necessary upgrade. Software companies do it with their enterprise plans, these phantom anchors that nobody buys that exist only to make the professional tier look reasonable. In China, premium milk tea brands use expensive decoys to make standard drinks feel accessible. In Japan, convenience stores use their own premium private label goods as decoys to maximize their profit margins. It's everywhere. So that's the bad news. The good news is you are not helpless. Once you can identify the technique that's being used against you, you can build a defense. This is all about reclaiming your cognitive sovereignty through disciplined mental frameworks. The system's attack is to induce cognitive fatigue with a bunch of confusing options and those shiny best value badges. Your defense is to use objective math, like calculating the unit price, to break the spell. They force you into a relative comparison. You have to shift your mindset to absolute utility, asking one simple question: do I actually need this? To navigate the modern marketplace, I want you to memorize this 4-step protocol. 1. Option isolation. Evaluate each choice in a vacuum, against your actual needs, not against each other. 2. Decoy detection. Be on high alert whenever you see a good, better, best pricing structure. That middle option is almost always the trap. 3. Destroy the anchor. Use objective math. Calculate the price per ounce, the price per gigabyte, whatever it is. That dismantles the artificial feeling of a deal. And 4, strategic delay. Just walk away. This lets the emotional impulse fade and allows your logical brain to re-engage. The economy is not a neutral marketplace. It's a meticulously engineered psychological labyrinth. Waking up from this matrix of choice means realizing that true freedom isn't just about picking the best option they put in front of you. It's about rejecting their game and defining value entirely on your own terms. Once you see the invisible architecture of the decoy effect, you can never unsee it. It will change the way you look at every menu, every pricing page, every choice you're offered. The only question left is, what are you going to do with that power?